Hi, welcome to Talking and Reading from Japan. I'm your host, Hidemi Woods. On this show, I read part of my books that I wrote, I wrote, and talk about it, or talk about anything that pops up in my mind. So stick around and enjoy with me. Today, I'll read one of my books titled The Girl in Kyoto. It looks like this. This book is a memoir that in which I wrote about my childhood in Kyoto, Japan. And so all the books I wrote are memoirs, and every episode it's exactly what happened to me, what I experienced when I was a child. So I hope you enjoy listening to my childhood episode. Today, I'll read one episode from The Girl in Kyoto. Today's episode is titled Propane. It's about a commotion that always occurred when my family took a cab. Propane. When I lived with my family in my hometown, taking a cab from home caused a commotion every time. There used to be a small lot that my family had inherited from our ancestors, 3 blocks away from our house. A local propane company had rented the lot and used it as a filling station. My family used propane for cooking, and our tanks were filled for free as part of the rent. My father would carry the empty tanks on his truck and have them filled at the lot. The station was quite desolate, and no one was working there mostly. My father would leave the tanks when no one was around, ask for filling by calling, and go get the filled tanks later. We called the lot Propane. Cabs in Japan ran on propane gas, and a local owner-driven cab union also used our propane as its filling station for their cabs. My hometown was in such a remote area that a cab seldom came to pump there. On very rare occasions, we needed to take a cab from home. Since I was little, it had been a mystery to me that my family walked to Propane instead of calling a cab by phone. To take a cab, we would walk 3 blocks and waited for a cab to show by chance at Propane, although it might never come. I had asked my parents or my grandparents 100 times why we wouldn't call and take a cab from home. Their answers always mystified me. We have propane. I knew we cooked with free propane, but owning the lot didn't mean a free cab. We paid for a cab whether we took it from home or from Propane. Sometimes we happened to see someone working at Propane, and once in a while there was a man who recognized us. When a man knew we owned a lot, he would greet us politely and call a cab for us from a tiny shabby shack that stood there. I suspected my family expected that special treatment and wanted to feel like VIPs by taking a cab at Propane. Sadly, we had an almost 1 in a million chance for that, and neither a man nor a cab was there usually. As the solution, my father walked 2 more blocks to the busy street to catch a cab and bring it to Propane for us. Or he even went back home to call a cab to Propane and take it from there. In this degree, it was impossible for me to comprehend what we were doing, and everything was nothing but madness. I still can't make sense out of what we did for a cab. That was today's episode. My family is stingy. I have to admit it. So, it's really rare we went out by taking a cab. But when that rare occasion arose, this commotion always happened. My grandparents or my parents were willing to walk to the lot we owned and we called Propane. It was not next to my house or near it. It was duly 3 blocks away. So to take a cab, we stupidly walked along the lonely street with all with my family members. And even when we arrived at Propane, there was usually no cab waiting there. We just hopelessly were waiting for a cab to show up. But basically, it didn't happen. So, my father walked to the busy street to catch a cab, and he took it to the Propane, and other family members, including me, got into it. So, that was because this commotion was one of the biggest mysteries in my childhood. Why didn't we take a cab, call a cab from home? I'd never got an answer for that. I'm still, to this date, I'm still mystified with it. With my family's weird behavior, weird action about taking a cab. They never tried to call a cab from home. So I suspected some secret existed in that lot called Propane. Something special must have been there for my family. I think it wasn't just a lot we owned. I suppose it represented something else to them. Otherwise, they were just too weird and incomprehensive to me, because they usually were waiting for a cab that would never come. But in a way, they looked happy. Probably because that was a special, rare occasion to go out somewhere. But they seemed happy just to be there, just to wait at the lot, Propane. It seemed as if they enjoyed standing on the land they owned. I still guess that was partly their vain and foolish pride. But I actually witnessed when a man was there and he treated my family like a bunch of VIPs. And on that occasion, my family looked so happy and content, so satisfied, as if they were saying, "This is Propane." And I felt was stupid in either way. Anyway, to me, it's just a foolish action. But their pride or their vain or their behavior clinging to their old glory of my family used to have was there in that lot. I could see that in my family's reaction, their faces. I felt that they still hold on to their lost glory that used to exist in my family. That was my side of answer to that big mystery. But basically, the biggest reason was they were just stingy. We used to use propane gas for free since that lot was owned by us, and the agreement of the rent included the free gas tanks. So it was my family really enjoyed it, that privilege. But a cab was a different story. We had to pay for a cab. So I knew my family was extremely stingy, but stinginess didn't explain their action. So I regarded it mm, as their pride and vain. Japanese cabs used to run on a liquid petroleum gas, and a cab's trunk had a large LP gas tank, and that lot was used as a filling station. But sadly, because my family lived in a rural area, cabs seldom filled tanks there, and so that place was usually desolate. No one was there. No cabs were there. But that lot surely held something special value for my family. By the way, my father really hated to see me taking a cab for some reason. He always complained about me taking a cab. He was my family house stood a 15-minute walk from the train station, and he urged to walk from and to that station. And after I left home, and on rare occasions also, when I went back to my family's house, when it didn't happen so many times, but when I really visited my family's house, my father would ask me, "How did you get there?" And I answered, "By a cab." And always he got infuriated. And I didn't understand why it angered him. What represented for him to take a cab was something I didn't understand. Something was there. He had his reasons to be offended by someone taking a cab. So I was often scolded and criticized by him because I took a cab to home, and we argued, and what's wrong with taking a cab? I just repeated that question. and I never received a satisfactory answer for that. I am still mystified with my father's attitude about taking a cab. What a cab did to him in the past for him, I wondered. Well, let's wrap it up for today here. Thanks for watching and listening. If you like, follow me on your podcast platforms. I'd greatly appreciate it. I um, I air this show on a regular basis, so I hope you come back here again and share your time. Share time with me, with my rambling about nothing, or just sharing my childhood experiences like this one. I really appreciate you joined me today. Thanks again. I'm Hidemi Woods. See you soon again. Until then, take care and be well.